Hello and welcome back to another Sports Playground video. And today we are going to be going over playoff predictions with my friend Henry.
Yes, thank you, Mason.
Uh,
No, obviously there's 6 games to go over in the wild card round, and we'll start off with the Bills and Colts.
so to me, this is going to be a pretty easy win for the Bills.
Yes.
I mean, really the only way the Colts could possibly win this one, in my opinion, is if Phillip Rivers, for some reason, just completely destroys the defense of the Bills.
Yes, and though the Bills' defense isn't that strong, I think Josh Allen's offense will overdo the Colts. And I think another thing that the Colts needs to happen is their defense needs to play phenomenal and limit the Bills to only 20, 25 points to have a chance for Phillip Rivers to get that many points, because the way they've been winning in the past is by the Colts' defense.
Absolutely.
Moving on to our next game. Do you have anything else to say?
No.
Rams and Seahawks. Go ahead.
So as we are recording this, Jared Goff is officially active, so that means he is likely to be the starter coming up in this game, which gives them a better shot, in my opinion. Jared Goff with 9 fingers instead of John Wolford with 10. Yeah, I still have the Seahawks winning this one, even if Jared Goff is playing.
Yes, 100% agree. The Seahawks, I just think they're a step above Jared Goff. And if you look at the team, the Seahawks team versus the Rams team, Rams defense is very good, and Cam Akers is good, and they have 2 really good receivers, the Rams. But if you look about Jared Goff is the problem, and I don't think Wolford's going to solve that. I'm not sure how much better he's going to do. But definitely, I think if you do have an elite quarterback, then this is a close game. But with Russell Wilson, with his weapons, and the defense has been performing a little better recently. Maybe obviously not elite, but it has been performing better. And the Seahawks are the best at just generating offense. I think the Seahawks are going to win this one, and I'm not even sure if it's going to be close.
I completely agree. I just don't think that the Rams' offense is strong enough. If they do win, it's going to have to be just a defensive showdown in this one, which is completely possible. And, moving on to Tampa Bay and Washington, the Saturday night game.
Yes, this one is another one where the football team is going to have to really pull off a miracle. Obviously, even with Alex Smith fully healthy, you're not sure if they're still able to win that game. And Alex Smith is not fully healthy, and the only chance that the football team has here, in my opinion, is if the defense plays like it's been doing plus and continues to play very well and better and holds it to a very low-scoring game, because the football team, I just don't see them scoring very many high points. And against the Philadelphia defense, they scored around 20 points, and the Bucs defense is much better than the Philadelphia defense, so they need to really have a good offensive game as well as their defense to keep on playing elite and even better than what they've been doing.
So, who you got?
I have the Bucs here, though I want the football team to win. I think it would be a great story for Alex Smith. The Buccaneers, I think, just have it with their offense and defense, and I think the football team needs to pull off a miracle. This is one where I think it's not going to be super close, but I think this is one where I think the football team has a chance if Alex Smith can play like he used to, which is hard, especially since he almost lost a leg.
Yeah, I completely agree. I am also going to go with Tampa Bay in this one. Football team doesn't have very much of an offense. Tampa Bay's offense is inconsistent, but even on their worst days, they're better than Washington's. Their defense, in my opinion, is comparable and possibly even better than Washington's. So this is a victory for me.
Especially that Antonio Brown is now turning into the receiver where he's been all this long. And
he's turning into Antonio Brown.
They've got 3 top, even if on a great day they have 3 top 10 wide receivers, their team could be a Pro Bowl team. I mean,
yeah.
So I think the Bucs are going to win this one.
Moving on.
Those are all the Saturday games. And
so
Ravens versus Titans, I believe, is the 1 o'clock game.
Yeah. So
this one I think is going to be the most interesting game.
Absolutely, I completely agree. I'm really excited to watch this one because there's a few narratives. The narrative A is Lamar Jackson, someone who has struggled in his 2 playoff games that he's played versus Derrick Henry and the Titans, where last time Derrick Henry and the Titans played against the Ravens in the playoffs, things went very poorly for the 1-seed Ravens as Derrick Henry absolutely ran all over them.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny to realize that these two teams are almost complete opposites during their last postseason performance, in which the Ravens were a favorite to even win the Super Bowl even. Lamar Jackson has not performed well at all in his past 2 games. And frankly, versus the Chargers, what happened was there was even a time where maybe you put Joe Flacco in, and that's how you know Lamar Jackson's not performing well. But obviously, this is going to be a close one. So who do you think is going to win?
I think I'm going to go with the Ravens in this one.
Yeah, I agree. I think Lamar Jackson can come out of it. I think it's really what I think it's going to come down to is Lamar Jackson going to play like he's been playing recently, or is Lamar Jackson going to be playing like playoff Lamar? That's what I think it's going to come down to.
Yeah, that's probably you're definitely right on that one. Yeah, and moving on. So I believe the next game would be the Saints-Bears.
Saints-Bears, yes.
Yeah, okay. So the Saints-Bears game, this should on paper be a blowout in favor of the Saints. It doesn't matter if the Bears defense, is good, and if the Saints offense isn't especially good. To me, it's just that the Bears offense isn't very good. It's in a game where they're going to be playing against a extremely strong Saints defense.
Yes, 100% agree. And the Bears can have a very good defensive performance, but even with a good defensive performance, the Saints don't win because of their defense. They win because of they don't win because of their offense. They win because of their defense. And the Bears, I think this is going to be the biggest one, the biggest blowout here, unless the Saints just forget how to play football.
Yeah.
And especially with Michael Thomas, this is going to be one of their only few games in which they're going to have Michael Thomas, Kamara, and Drew Brees at least somewhat healthy and starting in the same game. Though maybe Alvin Kamara obviously coming off the COVID list, you don't know how that's going to work out. And Thomas coming off the IR, it seems like Thomas is a little bit more ready than Kamara at this point.
Yep. So it sounds like we both got the Bears in this one.
Yeah. But anyway.
Definitely the Bears.
I have the Saints here. Couldn't tell if that was a joke, but I have the Saints here. I think this is going to be one of the biggest blowouts here in the wild card weekend. And I think the Saints are a good team and a team that can win it all.
And moving on to the final game, we have
the Browns versus Steelers. Now this one, I think
on the spot.
I had the Browns winning this one prior to the COVID, and I love the way that the Browns coaches the game, and without him being there on the COVID, obviously he has COVID. Unless this game gets pushed back, I will have the Steelers, but I think the Browns have been performing very well recently. And though they did lose to the Jets, which was a rough loss, I think at their best they can be a very, very good team. And even without Odell, and their defense has been performing very well. And so that's what I have.
I'm definitely going with the Steelers in this one. I mean, you have to remember that their coach, who is in the Coach of the Year conversation, is missing from this game with COVID, as well as they almost lost to the Steelers' second team, which does include Mason Rudolph.
Yes, and so, all their best players were sitting in that game, yes.
Yeah. So I'm definitely taking the Steelers in this one.
Yes, well, obviously the Steelers have been struggling recently, but we'll have to see how that game works out. That's another one that could be interesting. So, yeah, that's it.
Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see y'all next time.